Well, my name is Justin Bauer, and I'm here with Victoria Moss this afternoon. And I just want to introduce you to Infinite Banking if you haven't heard of it. I'm a member of the Nelson Nash Institute out of Birmingham, Alabama. And if you haven't heard of it, please go to their website and just take a look around. There's a lot of information. And that's what this is. It's just information. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a financial planner. I'm a real estate investor that found something that works for myself. And Victoria Moss, she's a real estate investor as well. She's looking to do her first real estate deals coming up in the next few months. And we're just going to have a little conversation about infinite banking. I'm going to shoot it over to you, Victoria. What's your questions?
Thank you, Justin. I want to share a bit more. I'm also licensed in California to sell life insurance. And since you've been my teacher and my mentor, I also am, I'm learning, but I'm also doing policies for whole life and infinite banking. So that's what this conversation is about, and all of its incredible benefits and how it's helped so many people. I have a question for you today, Justin, my mentor, my Yoda. So the first question I have is, what do you think is the most important business in the world?
Well, I think the most important business in the world is banking, besides, of course, our health and our spiritual life. But as business goes, it's banking. And most real estate investors really don't understand banking, Victoria. And that's what I'm here to talk about a little bit today.
Excellent. Thank you. And you're not talking about traditional banking.
No,
right?
I'm talking about teaching people how to bank with their own means through a whole life insurance policy. It's pretty amazing the things you can do with it.
Awesome. Good. We'll talk about that in a minute, a little more. Our second question is, describe to us, what is banking?
Well, banking's just basically a pool of money. Who controls it? You know, and access. So some of the places that come to my mind are syndicators, hedge funds, insurance companies, traditional banks. There's a lot of people that bank, but not very many of the general public really understand what banking's all about. And it's very simple, but yet very complicated. If we all understood it, we wouldn't be putting money in other people's banks.
And would you put organizations such as hard money lenders or even credit cards, could we say that that's banking as well if you utilize it that way?
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe not the best way, but
yeah, absolutely. Anybody that controls a pool of money, I'm going to say, is a banker per se.
Okay. Excellent. Okay. And our third question, tell me a little more about this one pool of money, meaning the group, the amount of money coming in. Oh, sorry. Sorry about that, audience. Tell us a little more about this big pool of money, pulled together type of money.
So Nelson Nash always talked about, when he was alive, I loved listening to him, but he would always talk about there's only one pool of money, just like there's only one pool of water in our world. It all flows through the oceans and the rivers. Well, it's the same with the money. There's only one pool of money that flows through a whole world. And it just depends on how much we can capture in our life, just like a dam. So when I think of a pool of money, I say I build dams. I like to create a place where we can recapture some of the money that's flowing through our lives to live every day. If you're a renter or if you're a business owner, or it doesn't matter, this works for everybody.
Well, what about when you say this pool of money, there's crypto that's coming along. Is that different?
No, it's the same. It's a pool of money. We can control it. Nelson, I don't think he really knew that much about crypto. I know he heard of it, but oh, by the way, Nelson Nash has passed away a few years ago. But go to his website and watch his videos. But I mean, he would say, well, why do they want to trade my worthless dollars for their crypto? That's what he talked about, was silver and gold all the time, because he was an Austrian, and he always would say, you know, he wanted sound money, and those people would always say invest in gold and silver, and he'd say, well, if gold and silver were so valuable, why do they want to trade my worthless dollars for them? And I love that about him.
Good point. Good point. So you're just so basically you are sharing this one pool of money, meaning we can't fly to space and create a whole new system of cash. Like there is literally only one source, whether we call it crypto or paper, there's gold. There's only one source.
Right. There's only one pool of money in our world, and we all have a little bit of it in our lives.
Okay. The next one. What about the reality of financing everything that you buy? What does that even mean?
That's really, I mean, it's kind of complicated, really, and not complicated at the same time. Because if you pay cash for something, you're giving up the opportunity that that money could have earned for you in the future. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that, uh, but we basically do. We finance everything that we buy. We either give up interest that that money could have earned, or, it's. First, I think you should read Nelson's book too, to get a little bit further into those weeds. This is just kind of an introduction for us. So
Mhm.
let's move on to the next one, Victoria.
Okay, great. We'll move on. The next question, what about the alternate use of money? What do you mean by that? The alternate use of money.
Well, that goes back again to opportunity cost. So if you buy that brand new car and you pull $50,000 out of your savings account to buy that car, that's an opportunity cost, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where that money, once you pull that money out and buy that new car, it's you're going to have to go back and refill that bank account to buy your next car. Well, with what we're talking about, our money never actually leaves the insurance company. We've got a credit line. Our money is going to compound for our whole life. It's never going to stop compounding. It's just going to keep growing for our whole life.
Even if we need to pull out this money to buy a car.
Well, our money's never going to leave the insurance company. And that's a miscommunication where it says, use your own money to bank. No, we just got a credit line with the insurance company. Our money is going to be compounding till we die with this insurance company. But by us doing this, we're going to have access to that money to buy that car and put the money back to use it again. It's one of my mentors he works for an insurance company. He says it's the best financial product ever built in the world, and I agree with him. But I mean, until you're actually doing it, it's one of those things. It's too good to be true, but it's not. I've been doing it for 12 years, and I know lots of people around the country that wouldn't do it any other way. It's just natural for them. And that's where we're going to get you to, Victoria. This is going to come natural to you.
Oh, I appreciate that. That's interesting that you said that. And that's pretty cool because I was just reading an article yesterday through the Nelson Nash Institute. And it was saying that the type of insurance that you have been doing for over a decade and the one that I have just started doing has been around for, I think, about 300 years. And it's been consistently successful. So it's not anything new. And people who knew how to build wealth, they actually used this process and it has become generational. If they've done it properly, it is generational wealth building.
Absolutely. Man came up with all these insurance policies that are gone to heck. Universal life. I mean, I don't, I really shouldn't even be talking about universal life products and a lot of the other products they sell, because I've never bought one. I've never owned one. But I do have friends and family that have lost a lot of their net worth because of them. So I'm never going to have an argument with someone that sells that product. I'm just going to sell something that's guaranteed to grow forever. No, there's no question about it. It's never going to be less than it was the day before.
That's right. And that's what you're talking about as far as infinite banking.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, then, what about, let's see here. So what is the real problem with this?
Well, the real problem with infinite banking is how people think.
Mm,
Do you know? Because it's how we're taught to finance. It's how we're taught to do everything. Who's teaching us this? It's government schools. It's
mm,
bankers that teach us that. You know, where did you get your financial education? There's lots of great books and there's lots of places to get financial education, but the best place to learn about it is to seek out somebody that has already accomplished what you're trying to accomplish. And I've did that my whole life. You know, I've got real estate mentors. I've got that I've seeked out my whole life to help me. You know, we don't have to reinvent the world, is what I'm trying to say, Victoria. Somebody's already
mhm.
did it, and so we just need to seek out those people and get a little help from them.
Yeah. And what you're sharing with the infinite banking is that it does work. It's proven as long as you do your part to keep up the policies and take care of it, it works. It
Right.
works. It's set up to work. It's not risky in that sense. And
But
then you,
but it is something that you have to educate yourself on, and you have to continue to educate yourself on. If you know, it's nobody's going to do this for you. So even the practitioner, he's going to be able to guide you and sell you the product, and you're going to be able to go get your answers. And even the
Mhm.
company now, because they know what you're trying to do, a lot of companies can actually explain a little bit better. Most can't, but there's a handful of companies that can explain this.
Yeah.
But when it comes right down to it, it is just a whole life insurance policy. You know, there's gurus all over the country that try to call it something that it's not. Have you ever heard of
Mhm.
the secret 772 plan? Or
I
there's
have.
well, you know what? We're just talking about whole life insurance. There's nothing secret about it. I mean, I'm happy that I have found it, and I want to call it what it is. I mean, it's changed the way I live my life.
Hmm. Yeah, that's great. I like what you said as far as companies adding new products, and many of them don't know how to sell this type of, or sell, create, and provide this type of life insurance. I was reading about that as well, that most companies don't understand it, they won't sell it, and therefore it's not provided. However, it is the one that's provides most financial success and security out of all the plans, which is interesting because it's becoming less and less available because insurance companies don't teach it. Um, and you made another comment to me the other day. You were saying another real problem was that people are paying roughly a third of their income on just interest, fees, and charges. And we don't realize that, which is why we need to start understanding and seeking out infinite banking and what that means.
Right, and that's Nelson always talked about that. I have no idea what the statistics truly are, but he always said a third of people's income went to those fees. But I truly believe it's a lot more than a third. I believe a lot of families it's up to 75, 80% with inflation and everything else that's going on. There's not money left to do a lot of things,
Yeah,
you
that
know?
is true. Especially nowadays here in 2022, excuse me. It's becoming out of control. Um, well, okay, we only have a few more questions. What about better control over your principal and interest for big ticket items, excuse me. Having you as the person having better control over over principal interest for the really big stuff, homes, mortgages, cars.
Well, when I got involved with this, I couldn't find a practitioner that was creating mortgages. And I had a big problem. I was a real estate investor that the banks actually called my stuff due. And I was ready to be bankrupt. They said they want their money and there wasn't much I could do to come up with it, but I guess pray.
Yeah.
that something would come to me, and this is actually what came to me. It was infinite banking. And I mean, you can't do it overnight, but I tell everyone, especially syndicators or hedge funds or people that are trying to create big pools of money, they need to study and understand what infinite banking is, because you can own that $20 million mortgage or that $5,000 car. It don't make no difference. It's just how you think. And and then you got to rethink how you're thinking. There's a lot of great education. Uh, I mean, I know I met you, Victoria, through Mr. Tom Painter's foundation where he's doing financial education. I mean, I think that's a great place for people to start. Uh, and I'll put a link at the bottom of this video so people can go get their free account. There's lots of great books on there that they can download for free.
Mhm. Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. Um, with these big ticket items, one thing you're saying is if people are willing to get educated on what infinite banking is, and you made reference to Nelson Nash, and maybe you can put a link or the title of the book at the end of this video so they know what book to look for. But they what you're telling me, excuse me, is that you could do infinite banking with all this, and then you're benefiting yourself. You're that pool of money, you're starting to keep more of it for yourself. And I think what I'm hearing you say is that it's long term and it takes time, but money does grow on trees, or you can create money that grows on trees. That it's actually a lie. The lie is that it can't grow on trees. The truth is it can, if you have the right tree. Is that what
See,
you're saying in general?
that's exactly what I'm saying. I grew up in a family where my mom and dad both said, money don't grow on trees, kid, get to work.
Mhm.
And you know what? There's nothing further from the truth. Money does grow on trees. You just got to know where to look for it.
That's right. And you're telling us that this life insurance policy, whole life, if you can understand it, and then like you said, find someone who knows and understands this, and even going to the Nelson Nash Institute website, getting information that you can actually plant this tree and get it growing.
Yeah, it's all it is. It's, hopefully we spread lots of seeds out with this video, and hopefully a lot of people will just hear this and go get more information. But like I say, I can't do it for somebody. You can't do it for somebody, but it's a seed. It'll get people started. That's the
Mhm.
same with the Tom Painter's Foundation. We call him Tommy what, how does that go, Victoria? Tommy the seed man.
Tommy
He's
the seed man. Oh, I
but
think
he
so.
spreads seeds all over the country,
Yeah,
and
and the
hopefully
world
we
too.
yeah, all over the world. He's actually in the Philippines. Hopefully we get this video on his site so people can be a little bit more familiar with what we're trying to do too, Victoria.
Yeah, no, that's great. And a slight correction to the fact like that we actually can help people start their tree because we understand, and we both sell life insurance policies. We sell this exact one. We help them plant this particular tree. But unless they want to get educated, which we'll help them with, we're more than happy to teach them, guide them, right? But we have the licensing and the resources to get them started with this type of policy. But we do encourage them, and we want them, and they need to get the education so they understand how it works, or else their tree won't grow. That's
Right.
what you're saying, I think, right?
Yeah, I am saying we can't do it for them, but we can help them along the way. I mean, and people with some of those other policies that we talked about, you know what? There's ways to correct that too when they're young. So they need to get with an authorized practitioner or Victoria here, and just have them look what you have, and you start where you're at. I don't,
Mhm.
but that's all I have for this right
Okay.
now, and we're gonna hopefully do some more. So this hopefully will be the first of many. And I know it wasn't perfect, but hopefully we get better as we go.
Yep, sounds great. Thank you, Justin.